The Philippines sits in the saddle between the South China Sea and the Western Pacific Ocean, and consists of more than 7,000 islands altogether. The Republic has one of the largest population growth rates in the world. Nearly 83 million people live in the Philippines. Of this number, 40% of the population lives in poverty, while a wealthy minority holds most political power. On a mission for Spanish King Charles I, explorer Ferdinand Magellan made the first recorded European contact with the Philippines in 1521. It would be known as his last discovery. He died that year on the island of Cebu in an intense battle with the Philippine natives. Through much resistance, the Philippines became a Spanish colony during the 16th century. The Spanish made the native people of the Philippines lower-class citizens, branding them with the name Indios, which by definition means idiots. Almost 3 centuries later, the Spanish ceded the islands to the United States following the Spanish-American War. In 1935, the Philippines became a self-governing commonwealth, but not long after, the islands fell under Japanese occupation during World War II. For 2 years, both the U.S. and Filipino forces fought together to regain control. After a history of turmoil, on the 4th of July, 1946, the Philippines finally attained their independence, but not everything has been stars and stripes. The people of the Republic are not estranged from the commonality of corruption. Presidents like Ferdinand Marcos, who took office in 1965, he was notoriously known for using political stature to his advantage. With pay raises and selective promotions, he made the armed forces his personal political machine. With his wife and friends, he established monopolies and cartels in the agricultural, construction, manufacturing, and financial sectors that extracted billions from the Philippine economy. The financial structure was beginning to break, and it soon cycloned out of control. The Filipinos had had enough. An uprising called the People Power Movement forced Marcos from leadership in 1986, ending a 21-year reign of political dictatorship and martial law. Allied in the wake of it all, the Philippines was a poorer country in 1986 than when Marcos first took office in 1965. With his removal, Corazon Aquino was installed as president. Her presidency was hampered by several coup attempts, which prevented a return to full political stability and economic development. Joseph Estrada was elected president in 1998, but in October 2000 he became mired in a corruption scandal, and in January 2001 he was officially impeached, leaving his vice president and current president, Macapagal Arroyo, to fill the office of a growing yet unstable economy. Now, why am I telling you all of this? The history of the Philippines has largely to do with the tackles it currently faces, both internally and externally. At the beginning of our outreach phase, we had to research the common historical and spiritual factors that defines the Philippines to actually know how best we could serve the Filipino people. We were told by local YWAMers that their unstable past has affected the Filipinos in the following ways. First off, a loss of cultural identity, due to being conquered by so many nations in the past, but with that, a desperate attachment to cultural icons. We see this in their religiosity, given to them by their Spanish fathers. It has created a stubborn faith based on human knowledge and perception of God, and not on a factual biblical foundation. A loss of trust, due to constant corruption, both on a local and civil government level, and thus has created a loss of hope for a stable future. Deep down, we were told, the Filipinos feel it's hopeless to fight the corruption in the land, in fear it'll just be replaced by more corruption down the road. This is also attributed to a poverty mentality, which basically says, I will never or we will never amount, and therefore creates a sense of passivity in the Filipino mind and attitude. This was specifically noticed by us in the Filipino men. We saw this widespread in many areas, but especially in churches, where our team often coined the popular but worrisome phrase, "Where are the men?" In order to be used effectively in sharing the gospel, these issues needed to be the focal point of our evangelism and outreach purpose. Though we could not tackle all the issues single-handedly, we now had a basis for communicating the necessary elements to the Filipino people. A striving of ours was to let the people know that they could be overcomers, despite what external factors may be. YWAM Auckland, in partnership with the Revelation Encounter International, led by Yvonne Childers, had that message intact. Through the working of a pastors' conference in Central Luzon, an emphasis of the Revelation Seminar was that leaders of local churches not be hampered by earthly troubles, but to steadily focus on the overcoming power in a spiritual sense. This was amplified by Yvonne's vision to implant revelation in pastors' hearts over this upcoming year. Our hopes is to create an empowerment shift from a loss of cultural identity to of a more spiritual identity, which we feel is needed globally and not just in the Philippines. The Philippines is the biggest Christian nation in Asia, most of which is predominantly Roman Catholic. Taken in an excessive attachment to the religion in the Philippines, our team devised a creative drama presentation called Shades to awaken the people to the truth of God's desire for a relationship, not religious duty. Amplified by testimonies, this was one of the strongest mechanisms we used in displaying the gospel on our outreach. We used this drama in many squatter areas, basketball courts, communities, churches, schools and universities, festivities, and even on a local Baguio television station. Many messages were also prepared and delivered by the team to make aware the real dangers of living a hollow religious lifestyle, with an emphasis to put lost hope and trust into a deeper foundation that lasts eternally. For the men issue, part of our team focused specifically on basketball courts where young males primarily gather. Many opportunities for sharing the gospel became available in these precious times. There were other times where we had opportunities to share messages with older males in the slum areas. An emphasis was also made on building relationships with lost men that lived nearby our base in Dagupan. Our suggestion for teams in the future traveling to Luzon should be wise to take these points into consideration. If we knew what we knew now, we wish we had a more defined plan in executing a men's ministry. We also wish we had more of a focus on empowering the women of the Philippines to rise up and surround the men in this time of crisis. We are saddened by the mass of men, many of which are prone to alcoholism, are dying without hope of salvation. Many husbands are missing from the family environment. Many young men are dying in passive rebellion. We as a team, together with Christ, do not see a country without hope. We see a country filled with smiles and laughter, with sincerity and hunger, with openness and humility. We see a light hidden under a bowl, anxiously waiting to burst forth into the world. We see their hearts and their humor, and we are privileged to be afforded the opportunity to be a part of it all, even for a short time. We are anxious ourselves to see the glory that unfolds in the Philippines, for we know that God has something special in store for them, riches beyond earthly measure.